What's up, everyone? Welcome to Sunrise Extra on a Tuesday, February 22nd of 2022. We all saw 2:22 a.m. this morning, so we're
good point.
Up on the jump on all of you guys. We have a double header topic today. First, you're going to see on the little blurb that you clicked on, we're going to be talking about a bill that's going through Salem right now that is kind of controversial. There's really good arguments on both sides. Should Oregon prison inmates be allowed to vote in elections? Then we're going to switch it to Portland's graffiti problem. It's everywhere, obviously, as people have seen. ODOT, the Department of Transportation, throwing $2 million more at it to get crews to those scenes and clean it up faster. So let's start with prison inmate voting.
I have a insider tip to start with.
Oh, you know of an inmate?
Well, no. If you want, if you want a
not
bill,
that kind of insider tip.
Just a kind of a tip for those trying to get a bill to make news headlines. Make sure it's controversial.
Yes.
Right? We don't talk about uncontroversial bills. It's always a controversial bill.
We do love that.
This one, my first thought when reading this story was, that right gets denied. When you're in jail, you lose that right. Now, you could probably start to sway me. Otherwise, I find that myself as I'm often easily swayed. But my initial stance on this is, nope, sorry, you lost that right when you committed the crime. You can do it again, voting that is, when you're out of jail.
Gotcha.
I know we interviewed one man, they were just kind of soliciting opinions, and he said, hey, the more the merrier. He thinks everybody should have the right to vote, whether they're incarcerated or not. And then the gentleman who followed him said, no, I absolutely don't think they should be while they are serving their sentence, while they're being punished for whatever crime. But once they get out of jail, restore the rights.
I'm thinking about like certain cases, and I think instead of trying to decide, well, if you're in jail for this, you can vote, but if you're in jail for that, you can't, like that would get too muddy, and just make it clear across the board you can't, because I'm thinking about like a murderer, someone who killed someone in a DUI situation, whatever. I'm thinking about those kind of people. I'm sorry, that comes with the crime. You lost the right to do this when you committed that crime. And again, I know that not every crime is that serious, but I feel like instead of trying to decide which crimes can allow you to still vote and which crimes can't, it's just, hey, if you're incarcerated, you've lost the right to vote until you're out.
Destiny Ann Marie Tolbert is on the stream. She says, absolutely, people who are incarcerated should be able to vote if it impacts them.
Yeah, I would.
And Linda says no. Just plain and simple, no.
My first thought is yes, you get to vote, but then I'm thinking if you are a career criminal and there's a bill that basically eases punishment for maybe the crime that you're in jail for, then at that point I would think, no, you can't vote. So I guess in my mind I'm kind of up in the air a little bit.
That's interesting, yeah.
It's a good point, Rod.
I don't know. I think I was of your guys' opinion, but then I remember this was an issue maybe in the last session, or I know we've talked about this before somehow, and somebody that we interviewed actually kind of made me think oh, I may switch my vote, because I think it kind of can give, you hear of a lot of redemption stories and people changing their lives after being in prison and getting involved with some of the programs there and rehabilitating their lives and learning job skills. And I think, I can't remember, this person was arguing it gives them some kind of attachment to the outside world and civic engagement. And, if they do want to read up, on a voter's pamphlet or on issues or on candidates, like that, any education like that is more of a positive than a negative. And just trying to have some type of connection to your community when you get out, and if you care about an issue, that can, I think, be a great thing. For the rehabilitation of the person and getting them to care about some of the issues on the ballot.
No, that is a good point. But, people have some strong opinions, a lot of no's on the stream right now. Cindy says crime needs to come with consequences, and that includes not voting. Let's see, I thought there was another one. Lovejoy Jeffrey says no. Abdul Jones says once time is served, yes, they can again.
Here's an interesting point Kim Tannehill makes on YouTube. Good morning to you guys. She says, are the inmates currently being taxed in any way? Then yes, they should be able to vote. Taxation without representation is un-American. That's interesting.
I mean, if
right?
you're a business owner.
If you still own a property or, I mean.
Yeah, I get the point there.
Right.
Sure.
I would, think your family or you are still paying taxes in some way.
Darn you,
Lisa
Kim.
Pinot
You
says
make a good
people
point.
are incarcerated who are incarcerated for nonviolent misdemeanor offenses, they should be allowed to vote. So she's kind of parsing it out into different
That gets
sections.
muddy. That gets muddy. You had me, Nina, or I should say, you didn't have me on your point about kind of a connection to the outside world and keeping these individuals connected in that way through the voting system. Because my thought is, I'm all for that when it comes to education or job training or skill training, allowing those things to still take place, bringing people from the outside into the prisons to teach these men and women skills and things of that nature, to prepare them for the outside world. So to me, I'm all for that connection, but to me, this isn't a necessary connection. Kim, our YouTube follower, Kim Tannehill, what's up, Kim, by the way? She of the fantastic Thanksgiving cornucopia.
Oh, the cornucopia.
Yes,
we were just
that's Kim
talking about
Tannehill.
that the other day.
She's a terrific viewer of ours, but she makes a pretty good point there, because I do believe the whole point of the country was taxation without representation. I mean, that's what we were fighting for from the very beginning. So I had not thought of that.
Yeah.
If this person who's incarcerated is still paying taxes, like you said, on a property of some sort.
Yeah.
Kristen Lebensky.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Rod.
I like
we
that
saw
one.
it at the same time. You go ahead and read it.
Well, this was my first thought. Kristen says, are they still U.S. citizens, ? And that was actually my first thought. Yes, and if you're a U.S. citizen, you should be able to vote. So that was my first thought.
Kristen has more than one.
Yeah,
I was looking
I
at the
like
latest
this. Oh, you're
one.
looking
She
at the
says,
latest one, okay.
I'm a lot more worried about some of the voters that aren't incarcerated.
Well, I also thought it's not like we people outside of jail have been making great decisions either.
Right.
So.
I wanted to look up, because I know there's how many states don't allow prisoners to vote.
Well,
Here's the map.
It's a state. Okay, yeah.
A lot of, well, let's see.
It wouldn't be federal, right? It would just be on local.
You could lose your ability to vote permanently in Florida, Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Kentucky, Wyoming, Iowa, and Arizona. Your vote is restored after you get out of prison in many states, kind of in the Midwest.
I think it'd be restored in all. Is that not a fact?
Yeah, I just read you the states that you cannot vote permanently the rest of your life once you go to prison.
Oh, that's
Wow.
Yeah.
boy, that doesn't seem right.
Only in 3 states can you vote from prison. It's unrestricted. Maine, Vermont, and what is that teeny little?
Rhode Island?
I don't know. District of Columbia.
Oh.
It's like, what is that teeny little thing there?
DC. Mm-hmm. So, do you consider someone who's in jail, Rod, to be a free citizen?
Well, I mean, I consider them to, well, if you put it that way, I'd say no, but I consider them to be a citizen.
So Oregon is a state, Oregon and Washington are both states where your vote is restored after you get out of prison. So it is taken away right now. This bill in Salem would allow you to vote from prison. So
I wonder what some of the arguments would be for permanent removal of that right after you've paid your debt to society. If you've gone in and served the sentence and then got out, why would you not, if you've paid your debt to society?
Am I the only one of us four that didn't realize that was a thing anywhere? That just shocks the heck
So
out of me.
here it is. So
No,
at least
I
in
know
Alabama and Arizona, if you're convicted of a felony, you have to apply once you're out to have your vote restored upon completion of your full sentence. Those convicted of certain felonies like murder, rape, sexual crimes against children, and treason are not eligible for reinstatement. You can never vote again.
Destiny on the stream says we have people who are in prison that should be in rehab or hospitals.
Very true.
So she's, again, kind of teasing that out. Terrence says no, people incarcerated should not be able to vote.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I definitely think it's harder to argue for what we're not really bringing up, or we did not set out to talk about when you get out of prison. To me, this was specifically about when you were in prison, should you be allowed to vote?
Yeah.
And again, you can make the arguments for why that should still be allowed. To me, it seems pretty cut and dry. You know, it's one of the rights you lose as a citizen when you are incarcerated for whatever the crime may be.
Okay, you want to do a switch?
Yes.
Switch. Okay, second topic. Here we are. This feels like a game
Wow.
show. We're going to be talking
Get
about
dressed into something else.
this graffiti. It is everywhere,
Yep,
you guys.
yep.
What an eyesore and a blight. Just coming in from the airport, you see it, you know, all along I-84, 205. I mean, everywhere.
Yeah.
So ODOT is giving $2 million more in contracts to companies that remove this graffiti to get on it way faster. So they say within 1 to 2 days of when they get a report, they have a crew go out there and assess, okay, how much time is this going to take? How much money is this going to take to clean this wall, you know, or cones to set out or whatever. And they want to get this cleaned up a lot faster. You saw those green freeway signs? Those have a special reflective quality,
coating,
that coating.
Yep.
And they replace them normally every 10 to 15 years because the coating kind of wears off. But they're having to replace them a lot faster now because of this graffiti.
You can't even see where you're going.
No, that's exactly right.
Right?
How
Look
do
at
you
that.
do that,
It's
by
terrible.
the way. I mean, you guys, I don't understand how and when do these people even get to some of these signs? You have
Right?
to be like an
Yeah, the
expert
hanging from
climber
these
somehow.
rafters and freeways.
Right.
It's crazy. So the new signs that they're putting out nowadays have another coating on it that doesn't allow graffiti to stick as well, so it's a lot easier to clean up. So that's good. But this is your time, folks. Let's rant about graffiti. And I just don't understand. I mean, we were making jokes of like, you need to crack down way harder on the people that are doing this, because some of the tags you see are the same people. You know? Oh, isn't that a beautiful shot?
Beautiful.
I love this shot. I don't understand it right now as we get angry.
He's searching for graffiti
but
there in the
The light in the
distance.
mood, Drew.
I
It's
know, it's
lighting
nice.
the mood.
It just makes me so mad, especially like on small businesses or any kind of business, you know, like how much money that is to clean that off or replace a window or something.
What's the question again?
I don't know.
Well, here's the
Is there
deal.
a
We have a
question?
plan in place. We have a plan in place to help with the cleanup process and to hopefully speed up the cleanup process for when this happens. But what we don't have is a plan to keep it from happening. And maybe, you know, I'm naive to think that there is such a plan out there. Like you can actually stop it some way, somehow. But maybe it's with enforcement of some sort of
Yeah,
harsher
we just have to
I
punishment
mean,
when we get caught.
honestly,
Yeah.
with the violence that we have in this city, and those police are going to be going after taggers, they're like, people, hello?
Priority, I know.
Yeah.
Hello? Priorities, and they can't get to all of it.
Yeah. I
mean,
But
the
yeah,
main-
you drive around and it's just unbelievable
Yeah.
how much it is
The major
everywhere.
concern here for me is that I have witnessed signs that are completely, including there was a stop sign in one of the neighborhoods up in Clark County. The stop sign was completely graffitied over. And my point is, it can get to the point where it's a safety
A
hazard.
hazard.
Right.
You don't know what the sign is telling you that you're supposed to do. You know? Yeah.
I would think it is wrong to say that the punishment should be to cut off someone's hand for doing that.
Did
but-
you just go there?
But, well, I didn't go there yet because I said I think it's wrong. But would it be wrong if you get caught doing it like 3 or more times? I'm just asking.
This is America, Drew.
Just
we don't
asking.
do that. But I know, yes. I mean, it's just out
That
of,
would
you
be
know,
a deterrent.
anger. I get it, yeah.
Jeez
it just
Louise.
is just like, you know, you guys, we're coming out of a pandemic. Things are bad. Why do you have to go spray your ugly freaking tag name? No one cares. It's not art. And you're a punk,
It's
you
like,
know?
it's isn't it? I don't know. It is marking in some ways, isn't it? When,
Yeah.
For the groups that are doing
taggers.
it, yeah, they're tagging or marking their territory.
Yeah, but I mean, it's stupid. Like,
Connie Staub Miller says,
Yeah.
put graffiti taggers in jail and don't let them vote. LOL.
there you go.
Combining the two.
issues coming
Yeah, you know what I find, because I mean, I've talked to a lot of nonprofits and just did a story with a nonprofit about the escalating violence in this city. And this is the connection, because they all will say that for whatever reason, a variety of reasons, you have a part of the population that doesn't care about themselves and certainly doesn't care about anybody else that they're living with,
Right.
or living around, you know, neighbors and that type of thing. And you see the crimes are weirder, wilder, more violent, just kind of off the rails in so many ways. And some of those nonprofit leaders will say it's because the people are more damaged
Yeah,
for a
home
variety
life.
of reasons.
mental health, home life. Yeah, if you have no support system whatsoever, you're going to not care about anything, anyone's property,
right?
And you're going to go do what you want.
Right, and then in the same token, you know, you have to step back and say most people who have all those laundry list of problems don't do the things that we're talking about, right? It is
not an excuse.
It is a segment, and what do you do? That's the question.
A couple of more comments from our viewers this morning on this very topic. Mark Jones says, just more crime by criminals who are taking advantage of the reduced police presence in the city. And Mark adds, the DA wouldn't prosecute anyway. It's just more disrespect for your neighbors and our visitors. And then Veronica Gaston, a longtime friend of the show. Good morning, Veronica, says, make the people who spray the graffiti clean or make them clean it off using a toothbrush.
It's like Cinderella style.
Yes.
Clean
You're not just going to clean it off, you're going to clean it with a toothbrush.
But I do actually, you know, I was thinking about that.
Yeah.
You see road crews with like incarcerated people out there, you know, with their little vests on, and they're picking up litter and trash. We just went up to Olympia, so up I-5 North over the weekend, and I could not believe how much trash there was from Portland all the way up. And I'm like, I don't remember seeing that much. Maybe we should get some, you know, give them a job. The ones who are able to, you know, get out there, get some fresh air, do something, and actually give back to the community. Maybe more of that, too.
Yeah, I mean, something needs, I know this is probably not fair, but the eyeball test says nothing's getting picked up anywhere. And I realize I'm pretty sure that's not correct, that there in fact are, you know, cleanups going on, but the scale that we're cleaning up is certainly not keeping up with the rate of the trash being left behind.
I was out on a walk the other day, and there was a young man not affiliated with anybody. I assume he's like a neighbor, and he had gloves on and a big trash bag, and he was just walking through over by one of the high schools. And I said, thank you so much for doing that.
Yeah.
He goes, yeah, no problem. But he was just taking it upon himself to pick up little stuff. And I was like, look at that.
I always do that at the beach, like when we go, and I always forget a bag, but every time we walk on the beach, I fill up a whole handful. Sometimes it's like a jug, you know, a water bottle or something like that. But my daughter's always like, why are you touching that stuff? I'm like, it's garbage. It needs to go in the garbage can.
No, absolutely.
But you never think about doing it like in your own neighborhood. So it's always nice to say thank you to those people.
Yeah, there are more people not throwing trash on the ground than there people are, right? Does that make sense? So if all the people who were not throwing trash on the ground just cleaned a little bit up, we might be able to defeat the trash throwers.
The trash throwers.
But I do agree. There are certain people that, like, literally, when they see that little opening, you know, the criminals who know that the, you know,
no one's
the
watching,
police aren't watching them as closely, they absolutely take advantage of that.
And you know what's bad too is that I think there's something to the fact if you live in an area that's just filthy dirty, it almost makes you lose sight of the fact that you need to be taking care of things.
Yes.
And there was a gentleman in a pickup truck the other day up in Hazeldale, and son of a gun, the man just rolled down his pickup window. I don't know what it was. It was something. It was about the size of a carton of cigarettes. I don't know if that's what it was. I'm just giving you the size. He just tossed it out the window. I was like, what the heck?
Isn't that like so old school now? Like you used to see that in the 80s, 70s, stuff like that. And now it is like, I mean, we go, you know, where were we on vacation? We went to Montana last year. And they don't have, there's no recycling service that's curbside. Like you would have to go on your own and save it and then drive however long away you live from some, you know, trash center and recycling center and do it. So people throw pop cans and bottles in the garbage. So we had like a 17-person family reunion and it was garbage bags full of cans. And it was like killing my heart. As you know, like it's just so weird to see now. You're just like, no. And I was putting them on the counter and she's like, don't even bother. Like we're not driving 50 miles to recycle these. I'm just like, I physically can't put it in the garbage can.
Drew, does Philly do that? I know Missouri does not. I would say 99% of Missouri does not. Does Philadelphia have a recycling program in place?
I mean, Missouri, you're talking about like
Georgia does not.
I think you're talking
it's like
about
super rural,
Yeah, it's a major
even
city,
Roseburg,
right?
where my in-laws live, there's no
I don't think
recycling.
St. Louis doesn't for the most part.
St. Louis doesn't?
No.
Huh.
No.
My mom's been recycling for years. I mean, since before I moved out of there, and that was the mid-90s.
Yeah.
So they
But
have
like
just
littering,
we have.
remember, Brenda, the big campaigns in
Yes.
Oregon of like, no littering, stop
We had those
the
in
litter.
Pennsylvania
Oh,
too.
absolutely.
I was going to ask you guys that. Like, was I just imagining that? Because, I mean, Rod and Brenda, obviously, just you would know a little bit better than I about the 70s. But I do feel like there was a time when it wasn't completely unacceptable to just toss something out your window.
You saw it all the
Yeah.
time. That's what it made me
I'm not
think of
gonna-
driving
that was
I-5 North
never
with all the litter. People would
acceptable,
open their
though.
windows, throw out whatever
Like
was
fast
in their car.
food containers
Do you
or something like
remember?
that?
It was the Native American. He probably wasn't really Native American back in the day, but a man dressed in like a Native American garb, and he was like a tear was coming down his eye, and he was looking at all the trash on the beach.
I do remember that.
That's when the tide started turning. I was like, people, stop that. It's not okay to just
Yeah.
throw everything on the ground.
Well, Rob, what were you trying to say down there? You
was
not
mumbling.
agree?
I was just saying it was never acceptable. I disagree with the word acceptable. I don't think it was ever acceptable.
It was
just to
very
toss-
normal.
It was common.
Maybe it was
I guess.
normal,
Common,
but I
that's
don't.
a good
I
word.
would hope that it was
Yeah.
never acceptable.
What was the word you went with, Brenda, then?
Common.
Common.
Oh, it was common, yeah.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Yeah.
All right, you guys, we're getting down to the minutes. Thank you so much for weighing in on our two big issues today. We will see you tomorrow. Have a great Tuesday.